What's up, guys? Do you know this children's game that recently got popular? By recently, I mean like half a year ago. Apparently, there's a lot to it. And today we're gonna deep dive into the My Singing Monsters Iceberg, which was made by Mofix, updated by Eagle Ray, and then updated again by me. I added some entries. Anyway, let's start with the first layer. My Muppet Show. My Muppet Show is an old mobile game made by Disney. Big Blue Bubble also helped develop the game. The game is very similar to 2015's My Singing Monsters. And by that I mean how the game was in 2015. It was almost the same game, just with Muppets and different stages. I played it when I was in 1st and 2nd grade, and then it was discontinued, which was around 2 years after the game's release, due to Disney's and Big Blue Bubble's contract ending, and the game not being that popular, so it wasn't worth it. MSM Lives are live streams run by the Monster Handlers, in which they entertain us and give us some information about the game. The live streams used to be every Friday, but after some time they stopped doing them, and instead they had My Singing Monsters Fandemonium, which was kind of a podcast, and now they're doing the live streams again, but monthly instead of weekly, which I'm happy with if it helps them focus on the game more than entertaining us. Monster Bios. The entry refers to the bios of the monsters that very few people take the time to read. I'm one of the people that don't read them. Thumpies. This entry refers to the game Thumpies made by Big Blue Bubble. The game is a rhythm game in which you tap on each drum at the right timing to each Thumpie's collision with the drums, and you get points based on how accurately you time your taps. Furcorn's Jelly Dreams. This was a game with very similar gameplay to Jammer Splash. The game was soft-launched in Canada and wasn't made public anywhere else. A few years later, Big Blue Bubble officially stated that it has been discontinued in favor of Jammer Splash, and that there are no plans to release the game or continue the development of it. Monstrous. Monstrous is the alphabet that is a part of the monster language, which is the language the monsters use. It is based upon the English alphabet, except it's a combination of swirls, lines, dots, and other stylized details. It can be found almost everywhere in the game, such as on signs of structures and on sneak peeks of new content. Oh, and also on Clubbox. White globies. White globies are globies that light in a natural color, almost white. They can be obtained using a few blue globies and a few orange ones. If you combine orange globies and blue globies, you get a certain globie, and after a few times, you combine the result with blue and then orange globie, alternating between the two, and then you get white globie. There are tutorials on YouTube on how to get them if I wasn't clear enough. Pomili, or Pom Pom Family. This entry refers to the fact that Pom Pom, Hula, Suza, Ruba, and kinda Tutu look similar to one another, and it is confirmed that they're kind of the same family of species. MSM Tubers. I think this entry refers to the YouTubers that make MSM content, like me, but I can be completely wrong. Mache by Grumpire. This entry refers to this clip from one of Mache's MSM videos. It was probably the worst thing he did in the game, and the Monster Handlers even made a TikTok featuring it.
The most intrepid of monkeys. We gotta buy it! 1,000 diamonds!
MSM Guide. It was an app which was a guide to My Singing Monsters and Dawn of Fire. Surprising, I know. Sometimes after its release, the app was discontinued. And now if you want a guide, go to the wiki or watch my videos. Or someone else's videos, that's also fine. Locked breeding structure. This entry refers to how the breeding structures look before you unlock them. I think the breeding structure used to be bought from the market, but they changed it and now it's locked before reaching level 7. All BBB games are connected. This entry refers to the My Singing Monsters lore. Dawn of Fire, it's about a time way before My Singing Monsters, back when the natural islands were connected, and when the fire monsters were a part of them. And I know My Singing Monsters Playground is about what the monsters are doing inside a Wabox. And the rest of the games are surrounded by a magic world tree called Stablo Mehuricha. It is Croatian for bubble tree. Tall tree in Thing-a-Thing and the Great Tree in Thumpies are from seeds of the tree. Woblins on Composer Island. This entry refers to either the rumors that spread of Woblins coming to the island officially, along with ethereals and globies, as things relating to this were found in the files, or to the possibility to edit the files of My Singing Monsters and replace the files of other monsters on Composer Island with Wobblins or any other monster that isn't there, and replacing the sound of the monster with any sound, including other monster sounds, and have Wobblins or any other monster on Composer Island, which I still think it works. Purple explored trolls. When Spirit was released on Fire Oasis, there were a lot of trolls on the wiki which wrote that the combination is Snizer and Woolaby, and after a few minutes it was insane, with people writing that the combination is Brump and Wisp, Punkleton and Fangler, Buskus and Buskus, Punkleton and Ray Robux, etc. And then when Monculus came along, no one knew how to breed Monculus on Ethereal Island, and there were more trolls, but they weren't as bad as breeding Spirit with Punkleton and Rare Robux. Howlow Leaf. When Howlow was released, it had a leaf, but shortly after that, it was replaced with berries. It was such a small change, I don't think anyone had noticed it. Octopus Laugh. In the OST version of Cold Island, Octopus laughs in the background before it sings its part of the song. It should laugh right now. Flutefly. In 2012, Flutefly was planned to be the Earth Island Quad, but was replaced with Querister. Flutefly was then repurposed as the Fairy Single Element monster in 2019. As a reference to its original planned release, it has the exact same likes as Querister. Mimic. Mimic is a scrapped monster from My Singing Monsters. It is the queenth element with every element except fire, the only one that isn't in My Singing Monsters yet. This monster was first shown in BBB's Extra Life 2018 event on Twitch. It was said to be a scrapped queenth monster. It was scrapped because the developers didn't think it was good enough for the game. The mechanics of the monster was that the player could make their sound, a feature which was tweaked and turned into the recording studio. In the December 2021 Handler Hangout, Monster Handler Matt stated that Mimic has a high chance of returning in some form. It has been 1.5 years, still nothing. We'll see, maybe it will be in December 2023. Who knows? The magical islands are the outer islands. The islands featuring magical monsters from My Singing Monsters seem to be related to the outer islands in Dawn of Fire in several ways. They have similar tempos, house natural and fire monsters, and according to the monster handlers, each magical island replaced one of the outer islands after they disappeared. Grapefruit Grove. This is a discontinued game by the developers of My Singing Monsters. In Echoes of Echo 2023, the Amber Island seasonal skin was released, which has a lot of references to the game. Monster Choir. It is the Chinese version of My Singing Monsters. There are many similarities between the two games, but also significant differences. MSM Pokegamer has a lot of videos about Monster Choir. I don't know how to get the game outside of China, and I tried. Dragon Neck Eye. This entry refers to the fact that in the game files, if you go to Dragon's sprite, you'll see that it has an eye on its neck. I found that out using a mod, which is Headless Dragon. Monster Codenames. A lot of monsters have codenames in the files, usually representing their element with letters, and some have funny nicknames like Squidry for octopus. Gobblegourd eggs needed in Ember Island. When Ember Island's Wave 4 of monsters came out, Barb needed 2 Gobblegourd eggs, but the monster handlers fixed it to 2 gobs a few hours after the wave was released. Limbo Island. Limbo Island is a removed island from Dawn of Fire. The island's name is still in the game's data, but there is no information about this island except for its name. MSM Elsagate. Elsagate is a phenomenon on YouTube. It is basically when a bunch of sick people create weird content that is targeted towards children, and in 2023 these people started to feature MSM characters in these videos. I have a whole series on MSM Elsagate, you can check that out if you want. Subscribe to me, please. Kano. One of Rare Kana's preset names is Kano, which is the original concept for Kana, where it would have a more masculine appearance and would be referred to as Kano. The Seam. The Seam is the metaphysical barrier that separates the monster world from the human world. Along the Seam there are the 3 islands that have non-handler human world influence. Composer Island because you create your own songs, Sugarbush Island because it is based on a real song, and Tribal Island because it features our monsters. And all of these islands involve player input way more than the other islands. WB plus GV. A part of Wobbling Island's Wobox's active description says WB plus GV, which stands for Wobox and Galvana. It is written because they share a close kinship since Galvana created Wobox. This was confirmed in the September 2021 Handler Hangout. FJD Ethereal Island. Some concept art suggests that there was gonna be an ethereal island in Furcorn Jelly Dreams, but it never came out, for obvious reasons. Piggy Bank. The piggy bank is a scrapped structure from Dawn of Fire, which most likely would have been used for storing diamonds, because of there being a diamond in the sprite sheet. That's most likely why it was removed, because there is no point in storing diamonds, unless you like spending diamonds way too much. Then you'd like have a budget or something. Dr. Warden is Spirit. It is one of the monster handlers. He discovered the epic monsters in 2018. Light Island is not related to Party Island. According to the island's bio, it comes from another dimension, so most people think it may come from the prismatic gate. Storm music. I think this entry refers to the old loading music in My Singing Monsters. In the very early days, there was this loading music, which was later repurposed as the Colosseum battle music. Pong Ping. I said that right this time. Pong Ping is a scrapped monster from My Singing Monsters that was an early version of Shellbit, meaning it was supposed to be the quad for Water Island. I think that the design is currently unknown. I'm not sure if the monster handlers revealed it between the last Iceberg video and this one. Anyway, it was confirmed to have a design. Its design was described as a gangly monster with a spherical body, two arms holding ping pong paddles, and some splayed-toed feet at the bottom. In 2022, Pong Ping was released in Dawn of Fire, on the continent and Cave Island, and in My Singing Monsters on Amber Island. Ghast on Gold Island. When Ghast came out, it was supposed to be on Gold Island and was needed to power up the Gold Island Wabox. That would be so painful, just imagine that. But it was later removed from the island and the island's Wabox. Underlings. Before the Wobblins came out, they were called the Underlings. The Underlings are a group of individuals who spend their whole lives being underground. They often have time to play their part of the song. Currently, there is not much information about the Underlings. Brump Memory Sound. A certain file in the game was found, which is Brump's memory game sound from the time the Wobblins were the Underlings, and before there was a Wobbling Island memory game. It sounds like Dermot's part, but with Brump's voice. Deuce Teaser. Deuce is the early concept for Bisonorous in Dawn of Fire, and something was teased in the 1.15 loading screen on Dawn of Fire, and many people think it's Deuce. I think it just looks like Baby Frog from the continent in Dawn of Fire, but I can be completely wrong, and it really is Deuce. 13th Starhenge element symbol. An unexplained 13th element symbol for Starhenge is hidden inside the model of the island. Unused Dawn of Fire structures. Some of these can be seen on the mirror islands in the main game. They include the Deconstructor, the Wishing Well, the Piggy Bank, the Whirlpool, the Satellite, and the Referral Stand. I'm green. It is the supposed default bio for monsters. It was the only bio for monsters like Pong Ping and Flute Fly. The Fairy Island version of Flute Fly has a reference to this bio, which is that under its mask it has a bright green face. Gobligord was a scrapped fire monster. Gobligord's concept art and final design all seem to fit the Dawn of Fire art style more than that of the main game. There also appears to be a baby and a default form for each of these concepts. MSM demo version. On Google Play there is a demo version of the game that you can play if you don't have the game installed. I played it once and there is not much you can do in it. You can buy every monster with a low amount of coins. The monsters you do have generate coins every few seconds, and the breeding and hatching times are also a few seconds. Maximum mines on all islands. The maximum mine used to be available on all of the islands when the game was released. It was later nerfed in 2013 to be exclusive to Plant Island. Colossals destroyed the continent. Tribal Island and Colosseum Colossals had a disagreement, and the rest of the Colossals forgot how to harmonize, causing the continent to split apart. Pyrosite crystals / firelands. These were found in the files of Dawnfire, and the crystals were even teased in the game at some point. Their existence was confirmed on MSM Live, and they were released as a part of the new upgrades to the Fire Islands castles. Wobux produced diamonds. Wobux's old bio states that it produces diamonds. Ethereal feeding restrictions. When Gust was first released, there was a message preventing the player from feeding it past level 10. This may have been to avoid the player trying to place it on Gold Island. Seasonals on Dawn of Fire. There used to be references to seasonals in the Dawn of Fire files, but they have been removed. Seasonals might still be added to Dawn of Fire because they're one of the few groups of monsters that aren't deconfirmed yet. Outer Island Crystals. Some more unused crystals were Nibelox, Aurorim, Quaritz, and Crystallium. The first three would be from the Outer Islands, but it's unknown where Crystallium would have come from. This was before Party Island. They were later released as the Magical Island's Crystalline Castles, and then they were released in Dawn of Fire. The Chromatic Reef. This is the original name for the Prism Gate. Prismatic monsters were called chromatics. Monsters don't need oxygen. The entry refers to a theory that the monsters don't need oxygen because they can be on Water Island. Admin Panel. The admin panel is a tool exclusive to the Monster Handlers and Big Blue Bubble. It appears on episode 33 of MSM Live and in the official Epic Wobux reveal, which was called Handler Cam Maintenance. At the time, it is most likely used to generate infinite resources for the Monster Handlers. It is also probably used to send items through the mail and other developer exclusive features. Monsters can create colossals. This entry refers to a theory that the monsters can build colossals. It comes from the Fire Oasis trailer in which they build Fire Oasis. Shark Moth. One of Mammoth's concept arts looks like if a shark and a mammoth had a baby. Pardoned Gobligord. It's probably how in real life, during the presidency of George H.W. Bush, it became a tradition for the US president to issue a ceremonial pardon to the turkey. Gobligords resemble turkeys, so maybe there's a president for each island which pardons the Gobligords. ABC. ABC was an early version of Riedling. Its design consists of 3 flowers with big mouths, and it seems it would have taken up 1x2 space. It was likely a vocal monster. Its name of ABC is an obvious placeholder name, being the codename for Riedling's elements. Whether it ever had an actual name is unknown. Those Singing Monsters unaired pilot. In 2017, a My Singing Monsters TV show was announced. Those Singing Monsters, but it was never aired, and so was its pilot. Those Singing Monsters pilot is still considered lost media. Were those it monsters? That's a fan theory that has been debunked, since it was revealed that Weirdos eat notes. It was believed that notes were monsters in an earlier form because of Persona's lyrics. Dark Blue Pummel. In the very early days of the game, Pummel was dark blue and not light blue. You can even see it in the official first trailer of the game. FJ Monster. There were references in the Dawn of Fire files for a monster named FJ Monster. The codename implies its elements would have been fire and shadow, even though ethereals aren't in Dawn of Fire. This sparked theories about possible fire ethereal monsters. Magical Islands came from the Globy dimension. The Prism Gate leads to the Globy home dimension, which causes things entering to be reformed. This could explain what happened to the Outer Islands and where the magicals came from. All fan-made content is canon. There was an episode of MSM Live where the Monster Antlers watched some fan-made content and stated that some of them most certainly exist somewhere far out in the actual monster world, undiscovered. There have been references in the game to alternate universes, such as the Mirror Islands, which suggests that a monster multiverse could be a part of the official lore. And I gotta say, what they said there was really smart. It basically gives them permission to use fan-made content to get ideas and then be like, hey, we said that it might be canon. It's not our fault that it's right there in the monster world. The magic binding of the trees. This is a long-running mystery in the lore of MSM. It was first referenced in the bio for The Freed Thing, which was released shortly after Tribal Island in 2015. It was confirmed years later in 2021 that all BBB universes are surrounded by a magic wall tree called Stablo Mechuricha, which is creation for Bubble Tree. The tall tree in Fling-a-Thing and the great tree in Thumpies are from the seeds of that tree. That tree is also the source of Ember. The tree on Tribal Island might also be from its seeds, because it also contains amber. 3 black cats playing Thumpies.mov. This entry refers to this video. There's a link to this video in the description, if you're interested. Dawn of Fire ambience. This entry refers to the unreleased Dawn of Fire ambience sound. Here's the continent one. There's a link to the full video in the description. Once again.
My Singing Humans. I'm not sure what it is, probably only Mofix or Eagle Ray know what it is, but I guess that it's a theory about what the monsters play, like the Monster World version of My Singing Monsters.
Spong. It was a placeholder in Jammer Splash, probably for Sponge. The bakery was originally alive. This entry refers to some early concept art for the bakery, in which we can see that the bakery is a living monster. Fire is a magical element. This entry refers either to the fact that the fire element came to the original My Singing Monsters game way after the natural elements, and right after it, the magical elements came out. Or it could be the fact that the fire element can breed with all of the magical elements. Creepy MIDI music. This entry refers to the MIDI files, which you can find while scrolling through the files in the Steam version of My Singing Monsters. I found them, and they are indeed creepy. Seems like they're one for each island. They probably are just telling the game where to play each Deepster's part. Either way, it's creepy. So I'm just gonna play the first few seconds of the Plant Island one.